Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew this simple shift dress with a neck facing and side pocket. It is so simple, detailed and beginner friendly. So if you are interested, please keep watching. And if this is your first time on the channel, please click on the subscribe button, and also don't forget to share, drop a like and a comment. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using these fabrics you see here. I'll be using this sequence, this Ankara and this gum stay. I'll also be attaching the lining to the shift dress I'm going to be making. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to fold my fabric. So I'm going ahead to fold my fabric, and I'll be cutting for the front and the back at the same time because it's a free dress and it doesn't have a zipper at the back. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw a straight horizontal line at the top of my fabric like this. This line I'm drawing at this point is going to be serving as the shoulder line. Next, I'll go ahead to insert my vertical measurement, which is my shoulder to half length, shoulder to hip depth line, and shoulder to the full length. After marking this point, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw straight horizontal line at each point I marked, like you see me doing in the video. So here we have the half length line, the hip depth line and the full length line. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert half of the shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. So I'm going to go ahead to insert my shoulder divided by 2 at this point and mark. After marking, I'll be coming down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Next, I'm going to go ahead to come down from that point and insert my armhole depth. I'll go ahead to mark it, after which I'll go ahead to draw the armhole depth with my ruler like so. So after drawing the armhole depth line, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust circumference on the chest line. So I'm going to go ahead to divide my bust by 4 and I'll go ahead to mark it. After marking it, I'll be adding a sewing allowance plus ease allowance of 2.5 inch because it is a shift gown and it is a little bit free. So I'll be using 2.5 inch for my sewing allowance and also for ease. Next, I'll move over to the waistline and I'll be marking my waist divided by 4 and mark. After marking it, I'll also be adding 2.5 inch for the ease and for sewing allowance. And on the hip depth line, I'm going to go ahead to repeat the same thing. I'll be marking my hip divided by 4, then I'll add 2.5 inch as the sewing allowance and also the ease allowance. Next, I'm going to move over to the hem. So whatever I have on my hip depth line, I'm going to go ahead to repeat the same thing on the hem line and I'll go ahead to mark it. So after marking this point like so, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to connect the bust to the waistline, to the hip depth line, down to the hem using my ruler like so. After connecting the side, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to move over to the neck. So the first I'm going to go ahead to do now is to mark the neck width. I'm going to be using a neck width of 3.5 for both the front and the back like so. Then I'll go ahead to draw the back neck depth and I'm marking 2 inch as the neck depth for the back. After marking, I'm going to go ahead to draw a round neckline with my ruler like so. So this neckline I'm drawing at this point is the back neckline. Next I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw the shoulder slope. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the neck depth for the front, and from the front I'm going to go ahead to mark 7 inch because it is a deep V neckline, and since there is no zipper at the back, it will be good you use a neckline that is wide enough to accommodate the head. I'm going to go ahead to mark 7 inch as the neck depth for the front of the gown. Then I'm going to go ahead to connect it with my ruler like so. So after drawing the neckline, I'm going to go ahead to draw the armhole for the dress. So the front and the back armhole is going to be the same. So basically this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. And when cutting, I'm going to go ahead to cut for the back. After cutting out the back, then I'll remove the back and cut the front neckline. So after I was done cutting it out, this is what I have, and here I have the front block of the gown alone. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut the facing I'll be placing on the front neckline of the gown, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to use my gum stay to do that. I'll be drafting on the gum stay first, then I'll transfer it to my main fabric. So first I'm going to go ahead to fold my gum stay like so, then I'll place the front block on it like you see me doing in the video. After placing the front block on it, next I'm going to go ahead to do is to trace the neckline on the front block of the gown on my gum stay. After I was done tracing the neck and the shoulder, this is what it is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert the neck width. So it depends on how big you want the facing to be. For me, I'm going to go ahead to mark 4.5 inch. So I'll mark the 4.5 inch all the way down to the center of the facing, after which I'll connect with my ruler like so. After I was done cutting the face, this is what it is going to look like, and when it is being placed on the gown, this is what it is going to look like. So make sure that the neckline on the facing is the same as the neckline on the gown. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to iron this facing on my black material. I'm going to go ahead to place the facing on my material, and I'll be placing it on the wrong side of the material, after which I'll use my pressing iron to attach it to the black fabric, after which I'll fold in 0.5 inch on the side of the facing. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done placing the facing on my sequence, this is what it is going to look like, and I went ahead to fold in 0.5 inch on the side like so that it will be very easy for me to attach it to the dress. And this is what we are going to be having. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to place the facing on the dress. So I'm going to go ahead to open the front block of the gown like so, then I'll go ahead to place the facing on it like this, after which I'll go over my sewing machine to stitch all the way around like so. So I'm going to go over my sewing machine to secure it. I'll be stitching from one part of the shoulder down to the other side. So before stitching, make sure you secure it with your pin so it doesn't move. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done placing the facing, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's looking so neat. So when you use this method, you're going to be having a very neat finishing after making your gown. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to finish up the neckline, and in doing that I'll be attaching a lining to the dress I'm making. So I'm going ahead to cut out my lining. I'm going to go ahead to place it on the gown like so, after which I'll go over my sewing machine to close up the neckline and also the hem and the side. But if you're not fixing the lining to yours, you can go ahead to cut a facing like so that you will use to turn the neck of the gown. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly finish up the neckline and also the hem, and I'll also be finishing up the neckline of the back of the gown with my lining also. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done attaching the lining to the gown, this is what it is going to look like. I also went ahead to do the same thing for the back of the gown. I also finished up the neckline and the hem of the back of the gown like I did for the front. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert the pocket to the dress, because the dress is going to be having a side pocket. And in doing that, I've gone ahead to cut out this piece of fabric you see here, and I have 4 pieces of this because I'll be attaching it to both the front and the back of the gown. And the width of the piece of fabric I have here is 8 inch, while the length is 11 inch, and I'm going to be placing them on the gown. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to locate the point where I'll be inserting the pocket, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to measure from my shoulder down to 1 or 2 inch below the waistline. So I'm going to go ahead to mark it. After marking it, I'm going to go ahead to measure 7 inch downward also like so. So this is where the pocket is going to be. Next I'm going to go ahead to do is to place the pocket on it this way, making sure that the good face of the pocket is facing my fabric, after which I'll go over my sewing machine to stitch my sewing allowance on the pocket like so. And I'll be doing the same thing for the other side and also for the back of the gown. After I was done fixing the pocket to the dress, this is what I have. So after fixing yours, this is what it is going to look like, and I went ahead to do the same thing for the other side and for the back. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the front of the gown to the back, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to place the back block on the front like so, making sure the good face are facing each other, after which I'll go over my sewing machine to join the shoulders. After doing that, I'll go ahead to close up the sides. So when closing up the side, I'm going to start from the armhole area. I'll start stitching and I'll move over to the pocket area and stitch along this part like so down to the hem of the gown. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that. After doing that, I'm also going to go ahead to attach this sleeve that I've just cut out. So this is a basic short sleeve. If you don't know how to draft this basic short sleeve, I'll be dropping a link to that in the description box so you can go ahead to check it out. After doing this, I'm going to come back to show you the final look of the gown. So after I was done joining the front to the back and fixing the sleeve, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's looking so beautiful and very nice. You can go ahead to try yours. So if this video was helpful to you, please don't forget to share, drop a like, drop a comment, and also subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial.